really the gym industry should be competing for the other 90% of people, not the 5% of people that are already completely sold on the gym.
Welcome to this week's Escape Your Limits podcast. Today, we're speaking with the CEO of the UK's answer to ClassPass. They make up the largest fitness network in the country with over 2,000 health and fitness facilities. The company piqued our interest when we heard about their collaboration with the fast food giant McDonald's. This partnership may seem like a health-related faux pas, but it seems consumers are resonating with this well-executed brand mashup. Our guest explains that as a sector, we must be willing to try new things and think outside the box by teaming up with an unexpected partner in order to create a completely unique take on marketing. In our interview, we discuss how to raise money for fit tech startups, the advantages of working in the fitness market space, and why gyms have a serious marketing problem. So please welcome the CEO of Hussle, Mr. Jamie Ward, to this week's Escape Your Limits podcast. Jamie Ward, live from Soho in London. Welcome to the Escape Your Limits podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I read online that you, I think it was on your own website. I think it's called Hussle, Side Hustle, which is quite a cool name. But I was read on there that you confessed that you wasn't a gym bunny, and so I was sort of interested that it was for someone who's sort of I'm very passionate about fitness, and I know a lot of friends generally sort of have some background in sort of working out or training or competing or something, and then they evolve into it. So you were somebody who didn't particularly like gym. So what was the reason that you felt that you wanted to create, I suppose, one of the biggest chains, if you define yourself as a chain, but one of the largest groups then in the UK, trying to get people to work out and to get fit? So,
I mean, yeah, I've never been a gym bunny. I go to the gym, but I'm not a gym bunny, as I would call it. You know, so I suppose it defines exactly what we are about as a business. You know, for me, we're not about the 5-10% that are, you know, super users of gyms. We're actually about the other 90 to 95% and introducing those guys to gyms, those girls to gyms. You know, there's no, I don't feel there's one size that fits all in the gym market. And actually, when we started this business, it was really interesting to go and see the expos and everything. It was just so focused, and there was always one type of person you saw. And what kept coming back to me was, you know, actually, you know, really the gym industry should be competing for the other 90% of people. Not the 5% of people that are already completely sold on the gym. So that's what we want to do as a business. And, you know, you talk about us as a club. We're not a club, we're a network. I'd call us. We work with gyms, got loads of partners here in the UK. And our job for those guys is to bring in new customers. So we think about the 90 to 95%. And you know, that was me. My journey with fitness was up and down. You know, I would focus. I focus on an event. I get really fit for it, and actually, that's what happened when we started the business. And I was trying to use the gym as a way to strengthen a particular part of my body I needed for that event. But I didn't need it all the time because I was doing a lot of fitness outside the gym. So hence, flexible fitness, flexible access to gyms created Pay As You Gym. But that kind of evolved myself personally in my journey with fitness, and there. Also the business. You know what, we want to attract the people who are not gym bunnies, get them into fitness, but then bring them through a journey, an education journey, a developing habits, which moves fitness from a sporadic need into what I call a complete lifestyle change. And you know, I've been through that lifestyle change. I know how positive an impact that is for me mentally, how good a dad I am, how good a husband I am, how productive I am at work. So, you know, I think success for us is can we bring more people who weren't into fitness, and then the second degree is can we get them to make a lifestyle change, which ultimately changes their routines and you know brings fitness into that lifestyle completely.
I think it's an interesting idea, because you're probably different to me and some of the people I know, and I guess that's part of the problem with the industry is that there's people like myself that are selling or trying to sell to people like ourselves, and that's fine. We're probably quite easy catch, really. It's like you say, it's the other ones that are a lot more difficult. I've got friends who don't work out, and they don't work out not because they don't necessarily like the act of doing things that are good for their body or something physical. They don't work out because they don't like what they feel goes on in a gym. And I also read that one of the things that you mentioned is that you don't like gym branding, or a lot of how gyms brand themselves. I've not got your quote exactly right, but what are you guys able to do through an app in order to sort of change some of those perceptions and maybe get people to think about joining and going into a gym that maybe some of the traditional clubs may not be picking up on, particularly in their marketing?
For me, it's about education. I think this term gym intimidation is real, and a lot of our customers, when they're starting out in the journey to fitness, really feel this. They don't feel like a gym is for them. They may go out and do couch to 5K and start running, but they don't feel a gym is a place that they can go to, because their automatic assumption is they're going to go in and everybody's going to be super uber fit, and they're going to feel embarrassed, maybe embarrassed about their own body image. And for us, the education we can bring through content, through how we interact with our customers, how we can bring them through the user journey, we could say, or user experience of, first going to a gym, what to expect when you first go to a gym, build up that confidence in them. It's okay. And, all gyms are not intimidating places. And again, it's about finding the new customers and bringing them through that journey. And I think that's our positioning. I'm not saying we're the only business that tries to do this, and I'm not saying that all gyms are bad at this as well. I'm just saying that that's where we focus. And I think that all too often there's an overlooked segment of customers, which it's massively important now. Think of COVID we've been through. And I think being in this industry, what I find is really funny, when everyone was in lockdown, and I just saw constant, everyone's getting fit at home and doing all this exercise, and isn't this great? And the reality, I was thinking, really? Is everyone really getting fit at home? All I'm seeing, this is the content I'm getting fed, but actually, I bet you what's happening is a lot of people are not getting fit, or getting less fit. And there's going to be a real challenge in the other side of this, and that is, the people that have put on a bit of extra weight, they didn't want to. People maybe have got a bit more mental health challenges, agoraphobia. How do we help those guys on the other side? So. I
think in America, the average American gained something like 30 pounds during the pandemic. So and that was quite a big percentage, and most of those were young. So I think you're right. A lot of people probably weren't getting fit at home during that period.
Yeah, I think it was something similar in the UK. I'm not sure of the exact statistics, but interesting for me is that it's been talked about, at Parliament level here, and that, are there going to be policy changes that could help get people fit, but also into gyms? We've been talking to the government about potentially prescribing fitness instead of pills, which I firmly believe is the best medicine in the world is fitness. So how do we get that out to the masses? So yeah, it's how can we spread to the other, again, going back to the other 90% that I feel is the big opportunity, not just as a commercial opportunity, but as an opportunity to improve people's lives.
Is that a challenge from a marketing perspective? Because I suppose if you contrast, I guess, what some of the people you represent compared to, let's say a boutique studio that's got kind of like let's say Soul Cycle, single type of exercise, very specific customer. And one of the things when you talk to businesses like that, the reason they've been quite successful in their marketing and their branding is because they really understand that particular client. How do you guys manage that? Because I was looking at your website and some of the options that you've got, and there's a real mixed bag, and I suppose some of those are going to appeal to maybe myself, some may appeal to someone like my dad, some my younger sister. Is that a marketing challenge to be able to communicate that message to maybe slightly different products?
Yeah, look, I know exactly what you're getting at here, and for me, it's all about the data. There's a facility stroke product. Let's think about facilities that are for different people, different styles, and for me, it's about understanding what the customer wants and trying to match them with the right facility. This is what a good marketplace should do, and this is, we are a marketplace. We match supply and demand, supply being our gyms and demand being our customers, and we work to really understand what our customers want, and we're getting better at this all the time. What they're trying to achieve, what they want to achieve, what their individual personality is like, what they like doing. I very much like, I'm a swimmer. I love swimming. I've done quite a few triathlons, and it's funny because most people hate the swimming part and they love the cycling bit. Well, I hate the cycling bit and I love the swimming bit. But there's individual preferences, and then matching them against a fitness facility that has the right facilities, equipment for them. So, we're not a one size fits all. By any means. We're about trying to take a mass market and fitting them to the right facility.
And I sort of understand that concept now, because it was a question I was thinking, if I was in your position, how would I manage this from a business perspective? But then when you've just said what you've done, and if I look at someone like an Amazon that sells everything to everybody, and even some of the social media apps that are out there, that my wife was just telling me last night, she was looking at beds, and then suddenly within a few minutes, her feed was getting full of all these bed advertising. So is that part of your, I suppose, USP as an organization, that rather, and I'll put this in a way where people who may not have this app, that are marketing their own mix of clients, can use it. But is it really a case of saying, well, look, I've got this offering, or this selection of offerings, and using technology, I'm going to be able to learn more about your interests and desires, and then through clever technology be able to kind of deliver information and messages that would be more relevant to you, as opposed to marketing probably in the past, where you would have a gym and you would get a flyer and an email, and we've got a swimming pool, we've got a free weights area. Is that kind of how some of the uniqueness of what your business is doing? Is that personalization to the client in terms of the communication?
Yeah, in terms of the communication, but also in terms of the product at the end. Our marketing is very sophisticated, and we try not to do the old Amazon, you've looked at this sofa, so we're going to batter you with sofas for the next 3 weeks. It's a bit more intricate than that. It's again, it's about understanding the motivation, the drivers of the customer. But now, we are a network, as we said before, with 2,000 venues. So having so many different venues, so many different facilities, means we have the ability to then match that against customers. Whereas the difference between what we have is so many different a range, variety, equipment, styles, to a budget gym, for example, it's a vanilla offering. It is one size. What you get with the budget gym, and it's for one type of person. But that's not what we have. We have such a vast range. Now, you said, is it a marketing challenge? Yeah, that is a marketing challenge. But that's why we're really good at marketing. We are essentially a marketing company, really, and about making sure that our partner gyms get the right customers, and our customers get the right facility for them, matchmaking, if you like.
And I guess I've heard, I've been on panels, and in fact I interviewed ClassPass a while ago, and I've sort of learning a little bit more about this industry, and I think people sort of sit into different camps. On the boutique side, where I've spent a little bit more time talking to people, but why would you say then that that there would be an advantage over? So let's say I own my own gym, and what would be the benefit of me sort of investing in some good marketing people to really do that well myself, as opposed to going to a ClassPass or a your organization and effectively paying you guys to bring people into the door? What would be the sort of pros and cons of that?
So I am not going to speak for ClassPass because we are a very different business to ClassPass, and our motivations and the style of how we do this is very different. But the advantages of working with a marketplace, if you're an independent gym or even group of gyms or even a large group of gyms, is the economies of scale of the marketing. Gyms facilities are having to compete for customers, so you're always looking for ways to attract new customers, to bring new customers in an efficient way, and that's what we bring because we have economies of scale. Economies of scale around because we have a large network, so that may be buying power, or it could be our ability to do nationwide partnerships. We worked with Vodafone recently and did a partnership with them where Vodafone's customers, 4 million of them, got exposure to the partners on Hussle. Now, none of the individual gyms or the groups would have been able to do that partnership. Why? Because they didn't have a UK nationwide presence of facilities, but we can. So we can set up those relationships, set up those partnerships on behalf of our gyms. Yeah. There's something else here that we're talking about marketplaces or in fitness, and I think there's one key difference that I think why our partners work with us is that there has to be a win-win-win. And when I say a win-win-win with the marketplace, it means the customer has to be getting value from what we're doing. Our supply has to be getting value from what we're doing. The gyms have to be getting value, and us as a business have to be getting value. So, recently we saw that the gyms coming back from COVID. You've lost a lot of members. There's going to be a big acquisition time. You've got members coming back, trying to get out there and market. So, we worked with our partners over the last 6-8 months and said, look, what do you want us to do? We're a marketing powerhouse. We got millions of visits coming to our website. We're getting eyeballs onto your site. What do you want us to do? I said, simply, we need to get members back. We've lost a lot of members. It's been a really tough time for us. And we said, okay, well, we're going to put your membership on our site. Is that what you want us to do? Because we're getting a lot of people in. We don't need to sell our specific products, our pay-as-you-go products or our multi-site products. We'll sell your membership because we want to make sure it's in our best interest that our partners are doing really well. And that's what we focus on. I think a marketplace is very much focused on the demand proposition, so the customer proposition for a very long time. And what we've done differently is take a step back and say, well, actually focus on our supply proposition. What do our partners really want from us? And let's focus on that. And if we can build that really sound relationship with the gyms, make sure we're both winning out of this, and that's absolutely key, then we hope the relationship and what we do can go strength to strength.
Thank you for supporting the Escape Your Limits podcast. If you're thinking about creating a unique and engaging fitness space to take your fitness to the next level, then we have you covered. Escape Fitness design and manufacture some of the most innovative, attractive, and durable functional training and free weight equipment used by many of the best trainers and fitness brands across the globe. As a valued listener, we are offering you a 10% discount off many of the products on our website. You can check out the full range by going to escapefitness.com and use the code dumbbell. That's escapefitness.com using the code dumbbell. That's it from me. Please enjoy the rest of this interview.
You mentioned the marketing and the partnerships. One of the things that got us interested in the conversation was your what I would call an unexpected partnership with McDonald's. I suppose in most people's minds, it wouldn't be the first brand that you would think of connecting with fitness. But we did an interview with Dr. Carl Roeder a little while ago, and he was talking about some of these unexpected partnerships, particularly for some of the millennials, and how the more surprising they are, the more successful they'll be. And so I'm just interested in that, and particularly for people who even own their own gyms. How did that relationship start from your side? What was the appeal apart from their reach, and then on the McDonald's side as well? What was some of their goals about partnering with fitness?
So I can't talk to McDonald's goals. We didn't discussed their goals in this. I mean, the process, McDonald's went out and spoke to a number of us as a network of gyms and a number of big players. So we weren't actually the only ones in discussing or pitching to work with McDonald's. Eventually, we won it because we had the biggest network in the UK. Why would we work with McDonald's? I mean, I find this very interesting. Am I working with McDonald's? Am I driving more customers to McDonald's, or am I driving more customers to be aware of fitness? And my job, I see this fully as my job as running this business, is to get the other 90%, as we alluded to before, interested into fitness. Where am I going to get them? Am I going to get them by going to fitness expos? No, I'm not. Where I'm going to get them is places like McDonald's. Yeah. And there's a moral question here. Am I driving value to McDonald's as a big chain? With all the will in the world, we're not the same size as McDonald's. I think when I balance this up, and I think the fitness industry in the UK is going to get a lot more value from being advertised in McDonald's than McDonald's is going to get from us advertising. So, I'm about bringing value, bringing new people into the fitness industry. This is an amazing channel for us to achieve that. And so far, it seems to be doing exactly that. We don't have all the results yet because we're halfway through the partnership. But if it brings in hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands new customers into the gyms that we partner with, that's absolutely excellent. Now, it's not just about the gyms; it's about the individuals. If 10,000 100,000 people say to me, that was great. I was eating my McDonald's. I thought, man, I should really think about my health. I saw you guys, and ever since then, I've changed my lifestyle. I've brought fitness as part of my lifestyle. I'm starting to create a habit. Job done. I'm a very happy man.
It is an interesting one, and maybe that's why you in particular have thought about it, and maybe that's where sometimes we have to think a little bit out of the box. I don't go into McDonald's. My children don't. Not that I've got anything against it, because some of my friends have told me that they actually do a really healthy salad and there's some decent stuff that you can get in there. So I suppose, like you said, it is a great catchment. Certainly we all probably, even the healthy of us, eat the equivalent of a McDonald's every now and again. It's not going to kill you. It's probably eating it every single day, a couple of times a day, that you're going to have a problem. But I do quite like it, because I suppose if you look at those brands that probably may not be super healthy, but in moderation, just as drinking isn't super healthy, but a lot of people do it. Being able to sort of, from a marketing perspective, look at some of those places where maybe the traditional industry wouldn't go, may actually have, like you say, some kind of win-win. But I suppose it's having the confidence to say, well, we're going to go and partner with a brand that probably isn't necessarily what you would think as a fit. So, building from that, Jamie, like when you came up with this, like from your perspective, was this something that you had to kind of sell to the people around your board and your partners, or was it just, no brainer, let's go ahead and do it?
I was the sell, or communicating the message in the right way, was more about our partners. We wanted to ensure that there wasn't an overly negative view of brand association. And the advantage, I suppose, of working with Hussle is that the brand association was with Hussle, not directly with the gym partners. So it was one step removed. That was the only place we were worried. And we made sure we communicated that in advance. We discussed wrote some articles about why we were doing it and why we think it was an overall advantage. In hindsight, I actually think we worried about it a little bit too much, because all the feedback we've had has been really positive about the reasoning why we did that partnership and the ultimate and potential benefit to the health and fitness industry. And I think most people recognize, like you said, it's about balance, and I'm big on balance on life and how to achieve that balance. It's very difficult to achieve balance in life, and I know that. and balance with fitness, balance with seeing family, balance with what you eat. And is McDonald's the worst thing in the world? No, it's about moderation. And I think people do eat unhealthy. I eat unhealthy food every once in a while. That's about balancing that with don't eat it 7 days a week. This is the argument here.
Oh, when you mentioned balance, there's another sort of balance related question I have in terms of your branding. So I've obviously the new brand has sort of been a big part of what you do, and you got merchandise and I suppose even with this partnership with McDonald's, you're able to sort of put yourself in between your clients in some way. How as an organization that I suppose that pulls, I guess, deals with a lot of people and then delivers that to a number of clients, how do you get that balance of developing your brand and then the people that come onto your network for them to be able to sort of have a space as well, as opposed to sort of being like a product of a company like you, or again in the boutique space of some. And I know you're not ClassPass, but it's something maybe our listeners may understand, is being a product of ClassPass. How have you been able to sort of get your clients to feel that balance so that it is a win-win-win as you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, I think look, it's a really good question, and how we position ourselves. We're facilitators, so we facilitate the interaction, if you like, and that's what our brand is about. Hussle doesn't explicitly say fitness. Hussle is about actually, it really comes about that balance in life and how to achieve that balance in life, and really you have to hustle to do that. So we facilitate the hustle in people's lives, but the brand around delivering the fitness, the physical fitness, the venue, the mats, the equipment, those are our partners' brand. So our customers very much see us as that facilitating their journey, but not delivering the exercise. We can be involved with education, absolutely, and with content, video, written content, absolutely, but at delivering the fitness where people are when they're actually working out and sweating is in the venues, and that is the branding around the venues. Obviously on our site we have the branding of our partners, and we very much want to get that across. It's not about pushing Hussle over pushing a partner venue. Exactly the opposite. It's about facilitating the individual's journey to find the right facility for them.
With marketing in general, you obviously got a good marketing background, and some of your comments may make me feel that you probably don't believe all fitness clubs are particularly good at that. On your side hustle, which I recommend people check out because there's some great articles on there, you have some interesting sections where I learned some stuff about CAC, CTV, payback period, and they're all terms I've kind of got a rough understanding on, but probably not as much of a deeper level to you. When you look at a lot of the marketplace, and I'm generalizing, I'm not necessarily talking to any of about your clients, but what do you see as some of the big things that most operators are getting wrong that you guys probably pay a little bit more attention to and have made you very successful at bringing a lot of people into, being able to put people into facilities?
So we see a complete range of sophistication in terms of marketing techniques and channels, some done brilliantly and some not so good. I think the main gap we see is in digital and the understanding of digital channels and how to enhance them. And digital works better at scale. So it works better with having a lot of venues and being able to generate a conversion. So to get customers, the more customers essentially you're paying money to get people to come to a facility or a website, and then the more product you have in there, the more conversion rate you get. So the more you can invest in marketing again. So it's not just about gyms being bad at marketing. I don't think that's the case. I think it's about being part of a more efficient marketing machine that we can bring along. Also, the reason we launched Side Hustle was an educational piece for our gym partners. And we speak all the time to our gym partners, and some of them absolutely get customer acquisition cost, lifetime value, payback period, all these great things that determine the profitability of the business and how efficient marketing channels are being. And we like an open conversation with that, to be honest, and just saying, okay, well, what do you understand your customer acquisition cost to be? And sometimes we've heard people say, well, I don't have any cost of acquisition. We don't spend money on marketing. And then I'll see PT standing on the street with flyers, and I go, but that's a cost. That is clearly a cost. There's flyer cost there. Oh no, but that's because we're paying them. They're not in the gym at the time. And that's fine. You could see it as a sunk cost, but it's still an acquisition cost. So it's just getting that integrity around data. I'm a kind of a data background myself, so I really understand once you understand the commercial dynamics, then that's how you can grow your membership base, and that's how we can help gyms grow their membership base.
So in terms of marketing, I speak to many gym owners, and I have a mixed view. Some people say a lot of the digital stuff that they've done or agencies that they've tried have not necessarily paid off as much as a lot of traditional stuff. And vice versa. Some people are still, go out there, talk to people, flyers, very, very traditional. My guess is that there's probably some combination of both, but I do see that you're quite a digital-based business. So what do you see as some of the marketing channels that coming out off the back of COVID, where I believe people's habits have probably changed and they're not going into the offices and probably going into some of the city centres like they used to be. What do you see over at least the next sort of 12 to 24 months, some of those channels that you guys are particularly interested in, that you feel are ones that are going to deliver a better return on investment than some of the other things that people may have done previously?
Because as hard as it is, online, that's where people are. That's what people are searching. Whether they're on YouTube to find out about something they're interested in. I like YouTube. I watch it quite a lot. Whether they're just searching for something online, Google, that's where people are. Facebook, Instagram, all these places. You look at the time spent on phones. It is crazy, and it has become even more crazy over COVID, to be honest. So look, these channels are strong. They're where you need to be, and that's where the audience is. That's where the eyes are. So if you're trying to advertise your brand, advertise your services, you need to be there. And that's not to say traditional advertising, flyers, billboards don't work. They do work. They're just not as targeted. So you can be a lot more targeted online. Where I see this developing and getting more interesting is around the content. I mean, what you're doing in this content, this podcast, is brilliant. And it's probably a more B2B market, but this exact content is absolutely excellent for people looking for fitness the first time. I mean, it is just astounding to me that the brain triggers something interesting. Somebody's going, okay, I'm I think I want to take my fitness a bit more seriously. Instantly it's phone. Instantly is starting to look for something around that. What should I do fitness? How do I improve my fitness? How do I, couch to 5K? This is all that. So that's where the eyeballs are. That's where the searches are. And being able to respond to that, being there with great content, great ideas, helping customers. If you help customers along that journey, then I think that's the best place to be to then advertise a service or a brand.
Yeah, you mentioned YouTube, and I'm a little bit like you. I don't have a television, and I've not had for a long time, but YouTube is very addictive, very smart as well at kind of delivering up some of the stuff that you're thinking of. But I did have a guest on that also uses YouTube in the fitness sector, but he was really saying how much white space there is in there, because if you look at many of the well-known brands, they're just almost non-existent. Some of them don't even have their own YouTube channel, and he's obviously gone quite big on that. So, do you think for someone that's not that you're not working with, but do you think sort of like using that as a platform? Everyone uses Facebook and probably Instagram, so they're more well known. But YouTube, you don't hear it talked about. You don't see as many people promoting it. How do you feel about that as a platform, specifically for people in the business of running gyms?
Yeah, I agree. There's a huge opportunity there. We don't use it, at Hussle as much as we should do. We have been there in the past, but like any channel where you can be super intelligent about what people are looking for, and then delivering them the right content, the right information, the right product. YouTube is super good at that. The data analytics behind it are incredible, and it's proven to work in lots of other sectors beyond fitness. I was looking at the stats around fitness searches, and during lockdowns, during COVID, they just went up massively on YouTube. And it was such a great space to be, great space to advertise. And obviously, if it's a facility that is focused on physical activity, it's not open at the time, but it could have been a great brand awareness building opportunity. You'd have to be careful with all these channels that you understand your the customer dynamics, the customer cost, because they're also very easy places to waste a lot of money very quickly if you don't understand. And I get the point that you said about speaking to gym owners who've spent money in digital channels and wasted a lot of money. I set up this business. I didn't have a marketing background, and it took me a while to really understand marketing dynamics. I was data savvy, but I didn't understand marketing. And outsourcing that to agencies without really understanding your own business or those dynamics first can be really dangerous, because they might not have your best interest at heart. The difference in what we do, we're not an advertising platform. We don't make money unless our facilities make money. You don't pay to advertise on Hussle at all. There is no outgoing payment from any of our venues. It's a very different dynamic.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. We've used agencies and hired people and tried a lot of different options, but I think as a business owner, leader, whether you're managing a team, I think the space is changing so quickly that it's very difficult to go and hire an expert that's already done it. And then you may have an expert, but in your business, that expert may not be relevant because there's so many different versions and channels and variations of it that you almost have to learn. So I think that's a good point that you make, is you try to at least get a basic understanding yourself, so that whoever you bring in and you pay a lot of money for, you kind of understand how to point them, because I myself and I know a lot of others, you can burn through a lot of money very quickly and not actually get anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, staying relevant in marketing is, I mean, it's incredibly fast paced. I think about when, we set up this business 10 years ago, and, I think 5% of our traffic, was desktop traffic, 5%, other way around. 95% was desktop and 5% was mobile. Right. A few years later, it's exactly the opposite. What you're delivering, everything's mobile now, and so little desktop. And it's between mobile and app now. How you market it changes all the time. It's making me feel old.
So you've clearly got a strong data background. How outside of what you do from a marketing perspective, what other things are you doing on the data to I suppose, to help your business and to help your clients? Because I suppose over that period of time, you must have some great insights into trends and I would have thought, particularly as it relates to COVID and where people are and how they're moving. Is there any sort of interesting data observations that you're starting to see now coming off the back of the pandemic that are interesting to mention?
Well, on the the positive side of what we've seen is a massive rebound in search for physical fitness, physical venues. That is now trending in the UK. It is trending higher than it was pre-COVID. So the demand for physical fitness, I just think people are so eager to get out there, get down the gym, do something again, and see other people that the bounce back in terms of demand has been huge. I still think there's a nervousness there. So demand has bounced back hugely, but intent to actually go down is still dragging a little bit. On the flip side, the digital services, which were, did so well in COVID and, went up kind of demand 3,000% when people are in lockdown, have obviously fallen back. That's expected. My personal expectation is there will be some resilience around those. I think one of the trends we're seeing in terms of what people want, it's kind of, I'd summarize this as one size doesn't fit all. There's a lot of options, whether it's Peloton type solutions, physical venues, and there's obviously lots of range types of physical venues, outdoor exercise. So what I'm seeing a bit more of a what's the right word? Disbursement of demands. I think the market's going to fragment in terms of what people do, what type of physical fitness, how they engage with physical fitness is going to fragment even further. And I think COVID has accelerated that.
How do you see this digital offering evolving? My guess is probably a lot more of your clients have got some form of digital offering. Is it something that you think is going to continue? Is it something that you feel is going to become part of a product that you guys offer? What are your thoughts on that space?
So yeah, I mean, we work with digital providers, and when I say digital, I mean provide either live classes or pre-recorded classes. I think they're great, to be honest. I think they're absolutely fantastic. We've got some excellent ones out here in the UK. Obviously, Apple has moved into that, so big names like Apple. And I think Tim Cook says one of the biggest changes, the biggest positive impact that Apple will do will be on people's health. So that gives you an insight into where they're thinking. Look, it's been a massive boost. COVID's given the sector a massive boost, but it was always digital was always coming. I don't think it will threaten physical fitness. To be honest, I think it sits alongside physical fitness. And to me, where digital goes is the same way I think physical venues will go as well, is in terms of the data. So linking that to what a Fitbit provides, more intelligent data about your own health. So delivering health digitally, delivering health physically with the data of your health. And then that links into healthcare providers or into what solutions you would actually need. I think there's going to be a merging of the services in terms of the data over time. It started, but it's still pretty raw. It's a big old topic, AI is going to impact that a lot. I've spoken about this before. You've got the kind of GPs on demand, digital GPs on demand, which will be linking in, insurance companies linking into this. So understanding from an individual's point of view, what needs they have in terms of physical activity, what they do, and therefore what their healthcare provisions need to be. Kind of fascinating, to be honest, but it's a big data play.
So with your, I guess maybe the change of the name may have something to do with it, Pay As You Gym, and which is very much defined on, I suppose, the traditional gym industry, and that being predominantly a place where you go and do some cardio or you do some strength training or some group exercise. What do you see probably for your business? Do you see that sort of gym regarding regular fitness training? Do you see that expanding? And the reason I say this is what you mentioned about the GP and the medical side. Do you see your business in particular becoming more than just helping people go to a place to go and lift weights or do cardio, and sort of encompassing some of those other treatments like mental health and other areas that are diet that are on the fringe of, but part of that sort of whole wellness, that healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. No, we're very much about physical activity. We have got, so much to do in terms of the sophistication of how we understand a customer's needs and link that to physical activity. There's so much. We want to do that extraordinarily well before we move into any other horizontals. The personalization of product and service we can deliver customers and linking them to the right facilities is where we're very much focused at the minute. I'm very bullish on the gym industry in terms of the growth impact and in terms of the overall number of members, but also the penetration between the population. So I see that as a growth area. I see physical fitness as a growth area. I'm not saying that all these other areas are not important and they link in, but in terms of where we want to be specialists, it's very much around ensuring somebody is doing the right physical fitness at the right venue for them to achieve the goals that they want.
So that kind of leads me on to this sort of gym pass question class pass question I was going to ask. So I suppose if you look at what's happening within those traditional gyms, you had the big boxes, then the boutiques came in, then the big boxes started to become in some ways or have boutiques within them, and then some clubs like a David Lloyd were a big box, but they've got their own boutiques. So it's kind of all mixed up. So how do you, as an organization, you said you want to stay narrow focused, but where do you draw the line then? It seems as though ClassPass is more boutique and only boutique, and it seems as though you guys are kind of more regular gym as opposed to boutique, or have I just misunderstood kind of what you guys are doing in relation to them?
No, I think that's right where we are at the moment, and I want to stay focused on physical fitness, but that also includes classes, and whether it's boutiques or classes within a gym, big box gym, even a small gym, independent gyms do great classes as well. For us, it's not about picking a certain sector within the health and fitness industry. It's about saying it's about linking the customer with the right physical fitness for them. I don't look at it as, okay, we've got just gyms and then just classes or just boutiques. I look at it as there's a number of physical fitness activities that could be right for an individual, but it's very much around physical fitness rather than moving into more healthcare or more mental fitness, which is obviously very important, but not where we'd focus.
So what do you guys do? How would you sort of describe what you do differently to ClassPass then? What's the reason why someone should come to you over them?
I mean, apart from the supply, which you pointed out in a minute, I mean, the one big difference between us and say ClassPass is a ClassPass is a kind of all-you-can-eat model. So you pay and you get access to loads of different venues on an all-you-can-eat basis. That's not necessarily how I see the future or how I believe there is a win for the supply. So our model includes a number of different ways to access venues, but it's also about growing the gym's own membership base. And as I said, we're now working with the gyms to grow their own membership base. And ultimately, that's where I think we can create the win-win-win situation for a marketplace, a customer, and the venues themselves. It's not about hoarding the customers for yourself and being only your member. And I suppose, the different we're not trying to change customers' behavior. We're not trying to say, the best thing for you is to have access to loads of venues because that's right for you. And actually you need to do spinning, and tomorrow you need to do Pilates, and the next day you need to do gym. What we're saying is, what do you need? What do you want? Okay, we can facilitate that. Is that a membership to the gym around the corner? Fantastic. Oh, actually, you're now living and working in 2 different places, and you're spending 2 to 3 days at work, and you're spending 3 to 4 days at home. Okay, you need access to 2 venues. Okay, we can deliver that for you. So it's more about listening to the customer and then delivering on their needs, and working with our partner facilities to make sure we're not cannibalizing the industry, but ensuring that we're actually driving customers and members to them, as well as having our own unique solutions, which an individual gym or a group of gyms can't provide.
And how are you assisting or doing anything to improve one of the biggest issues in the industry, which is retention? Is that something that you're able to help them with? Because I guess I know you've done some stuff with Paul Bedford, and I've listened to him a lot. We've interviewed him, but his idea is, look, the cost to keep if you can keep some of your customers just a few months longer, your profitability accelerates enormously. So I know that's not the ClassPass model, but is that something you guys delve into at all?
Yeah, it's actually something we're focusing on and developing a lot more at the moment, and it came about because of the direct membership proposition that we've launched. So ultimately we're getting the gym a member, but we're working with that gym in interacting with the member, and this is services we're developing at the moment. So whereas we see ourselves as the non-physical relationship with the member, the gyms are fantastic when somebody is at the gym, and they're fantastic in engagement, but we understand the data, so understand exactly what that customer is doing, when they're doing it, when to interact, how to motivate, how to engage. So what we'd like to develop as part of our direct membership service is a working relationship with the gym. Say, okay, we both have a part to play in this. Let's share knowledge, let's share information. What is the best way to engage with these customers to help them along their journey? I didn't like this retention. I always find it a funny word, retention. I think if you're delivering what's best for the customer, they'll stay. And it's just, I think it's focusing on the product and focusing on delivering and maintaining that motivation. If you do that, I think customers will stay, and we've seen that through our own products in the past.
Right. So before we wrap up, I wanted to finish off. I was very curious about your journey. You've been very successful at raising funding. I know probably quite a few people that listen to this, it's one of the things that they look to do. But before I do that, just for anyone that's interested in knowing more about what you guys are doing, and particularly your plans, if you're going to expand, if you're going into any other countries, tell us a little bit about where people can find out about you. Where are you planning to go anywhere next? Just so that if people like what they're hearing, they've got the ability to sort of follow up.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment we're UK focused. It's a big market here, and apart from the bump in the road, it's a growing market. So we're very much focused in the UK. We do have international ambitions. Where that would be, I couldn't say or can't say. But yeah, right now, if you want to find out about us, it's hussle.com. Hussle not spelled in the traditional sense, although I have found out since launching that a lot of people don't know how to spell hustle, which is great. It's hussle.com. Industry content is called The Side Hustle, which we do some interviews with industry experts, a lot around marketing, a lot around the messaging that we're trying to get out there, and highlighting the services that we do and what our focus is. We're expanding in supply base, our gym network in the UK rapidly. We tend to try and let's say it's not just about bringing on loads and loads of supply, it's about working really closely with the supply. So our team will, if you'd like to come on board, our team will work closely with you to understand what your ambitions are as a gym, how you want to grow it, and see if we can help. So yeah, you can get in contact directly through the website. But I'd really say read some of the content first, find out what we're about, and then give us a shout.
Yeah, I definitely recommend Side Hustle. There's some really good stuff on there. I learned quite a bit from that, and worth checking out. So, in terms of raising capital, it's something I've been through and looked at myself, and I know quite a few others are. And I took this from Crunchbase, so I don't know how accurate it is, but it looked like it was pretty early. Like we as I said, I thought you're a relatively new company and a new tech and app, but it looks like some of the first rounds were going back to 2012, 13. And I suppose going back then, coming up with an app to get people to join gyms is I don't know, it's an interesting idea. If you'd have done it a few years ago, it's like, yeah, okay, well, I'm interested in that. But going back then, it must have been a little bit more tough. So tell us about the journey. How did you do it? How did you convince people to part with what seems to be now about £26 million, which is a lot of money? And what are some of the sort of advice and big lessons for someone, for a younger entrepreneur as you went through that journey?
Yeah, going back, memory lane there. So yeah, we were raising money in 2011, and as I said, back in those days, actually apps were really quite new. Mobile usage in terms of internet search was really quite new. So coming up with a web mobile solution to connect fitness venues with customers was really a novel idea. And I mean, in terms of, if we call ourselves a marketplace, I don't really care what people call us, but if we call us, we were the first marketplace globally to try and solve the challenge in front of us. Funding journey, like funding is an interesting challenge. The funding environment has changed a lot over the last 10 years. Crowdfunding has become a much bigger part of early stage raises. Advice to entrepreneurs who are looking now at early stage raises, I'd really focus on the product first. Get traction on the product before you go out and try and raise. We actually raised even pre-revenue, which is kind of unheard of these days. But to I get traction in the product, focus on the KPIs, focus on growth. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. Don't think it has to be perfect. Focus on if there's anything regional, or you can focus on a smaller area, smaller piece, and prove your point with as a small amount of money as possible. It's about building evidence and building a business case up. In terms of outreach, one of the things I'd say is don't try and raise too little early on. I mean, that sounds silly, but make sure you're raising enough for a good long runway for things to go wrong, because they will go wrong. Anybody who's run a business will know that things go right sometimes and they go wrong a lot of the time. So make sure you're raising enough for the unexpected to happen. The early stage investment scene is a lot more mature these days. It's obviously in America, Valley Way is very mature. UK is also incredibly mature as well. There's lots of different types of funds out there: VCTs, normal VCs, EIS funds to look at. I suppose just a tip: I would network hugely before going directly to any investor. Warm leads are much better than cold introductions. So I speak to a lot of early stage entrepreneurs. I spend a lot of time just, having video calls with them, finding out where they are, giving advice, introductions, if I know the right investors that be interested in that space. So spend a lot of time networking. It doesn't have to be pre-COVID, everybody be going to networking events. I'm sure they'll come back, but actually it's really efficient just to have a half an hour call with somebody and say, can I just pick your brains for 20 minutes on this specific area? And then you're getting your word out there, you're getting your brand out there. The people have conversations, say, these guys are really smart. They've got this idea. I really think it has legs. You should probably speak to them. And just make sure your material, your investment deck or whatever it is of top quality. And if you don't believe it, you can do that, then get advice on how to do that.
With the forecast part, or let's say the numbers, this is one of the things that I've certainly been involved in quite a lot. How have you been able to paint that sort of forecast? Because if you raise money pre-revenue, which is like, okay, well, we've got this great idea, we know there's this many clubs in the UK, we think we're going to get this amount. How do you forecast something in a way where it's going to give your investors a certain element of security, or do you not really look at it in that way?
So it's just going back quite a while, but when we were raising that first round, who believes in a forecast as a pre-revenue business? I don't think anybody does. I think it's about do the investors really believe in the opportunity and the market opportunity, and at that stage especially, do they believe in the team? Do they believe they will see this through? Do they believe they will maneuver when things get when things get tough? Do they think they have the resilience to keep going, keep developing, keep adapting as the market changes around them? So that is certainly a stage, very early stage, pre-revenue, absolutely. And key is there a problem there, and is this a solution to a problem? Is it a real problem? So I think that outweighs the forecasting. As you well know, as you develop and your business grows, you can be more accurate in what in how you forecast them and what the opportunities are. And you say that accurate, and then COVID comes along and completely destroys every forecast that you thought you had. So we can't be accurate all the time.
And on final question on that, on marketing, big part of what you guys do is marketing, but is that an area that you think people sometimes undercork or undervalue in terms of when the amount that they need to be able to build a brand, particularly if it's like a direct to consumer, which is pretty much what you guys did?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's there's an element of building your brand, building brand awareness. All marketing channels will start, in my experience anyway, will start less efficient than where they will end up. So don't think if you start investing in a marketing channel that the results you're getting straight away are the results, the be all and end all. All channels need a lot of work and to optimize through the user journey, and if it's like my business, through the website or the app, and making sure it's all running absolutely efficiently. So do people underestimate that? I think people, when putting together plans, what I've seen anyway from early stage businesses, feel the need to show that marketing channels are delivering an ROI straight away, return on investment, or contribution positive straight away, and that is nearly in every case not true. It will take some investment to optimize the product, optimize the service until those channels are working for you, and it's an ongoing battle. It never stops. The key for me is just try not to waste a lot of money along that journey. Optimize, build, optimize, build, optimize, build. And when I say build, spend more money, start investing more in that channel as it's working, and hence why the data is so important, to understand how and when to push the button too early, and really, that is wasted money. And in a lot of cases, Facebook and Google will be the winners, and not you.
So final question then, Jamie. Escape Your Limits is about escaping what you've believed is impossible and gone on to make it possible. What would be one of your memorable examples of escaping your own personal limits?
The reason I say the biggest driving factor starting this business was I took a career break when I hit 30, and my wife and I went away and we traveled the world for a year. And in terms of escaping my limits, that completely changed my perspective on life, and what I wanted to achieve in my life, and what I thought was possible to achieve in life. Completely changed my perspective. So escaping my limits was escaping what was a very normal life path, and saying it doesn't have to be like this. Take a step back, the 1,000-foot view of life, challenge every decision, think about it, get your head in a really clear headspace, and then tackle life the way you want to. And building, for me, that was building a business, coming back and saying I did not want to go back into the normal corporate world, which I was in before, and saying actually I want to grow a business, I want to grow a brand. So that was my experience of escaping my limits, and I'm still experiencing that.
Well, Jamie, you've certainly got an impressive story, and you built a very impressive business that looks as though it's just in its early stages. So I congratulate you with what you've done, and I thank you for your time today on the podcast. Thank you very much.
Cheers, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, then please go over to iTunes and subscribe to the Escape Your Limits podcast. Leave a review, leave a comment. It really would help us a lot to continue to keep these going.